Imagine being the undisputed king of an entire industry. You're raking in billions, right? But at the exact same time, you're walking around with a massive legal target painted on your back. Well, that is exactly where Steam, the world's largest PC game distributor, finds itself today. They're facing lawsuits on top of lawsuits, with massive corporations and legal teams literally trying to tear them down piece by piece.
And that brings us to the central mystery of this explainer. Competitors and lawsuits are constantly painting Steam as this illegal monopoly, like some ultimate corporate villain. Yet, if you go out and ask the actual customers, the millions of gamers who use the platform every single day, they fiercely defend it. I mean, they will actively go to war on Steam's behalf. So why do competitors hate them so much while customers remain incredibly loyal?
To really wrap our heads around the scale of this turf war, we've got to look at the numbers. Steam currently controls a staggering 74% of the PC gaming market. They're generating roughly $17 billion in annual revenue, boasting over 130 million monthly active users. When you are that unbelievably big, you are absolutely going to make a lot of enemies.
Section 1. Unpacking the antitrust accusations. Let's look at the legal battles aimed at bringing the giant down, starting with the baseline financial complaint that started all this trouble.
Okay, let's dive into this. Broadly speaking, Valve takes a 30% cut of all revenue from sales on Steam. Now, this is actually the industry standard. It's the exact same cut taken by Apple, Google Play, and GOG. But competitors like Epic Games and the Microsoft Store have lowered their fees to just 12%. Because of this massive discrepancy, a lot of developers and competing platforms are understandably frustrated. They claim that Steam's 30% is just an unfair, quote-unquote, junk fee that they're basically forced to pay.
And that frustration, it's totally spilled over into the courts. Take the Vicky Shotbolt lawsuit, for example. Filed on behalf of 14 million UK consumers, this claim is seeking a staggering $900 million. They're arguing that the 30% cut is excessive, sure, but they also accuse Steam of anti-steering. Basically, this means if a game has in-app purchases, Steam mandates those transactions have to go through their own system. That ensures they still get their 30% slice of the pie, no matter what.
But the absolute heaviest accusation revolves around something called platform parity. In plain English, this means if a developer wants to sell their game on Steam, they allegedly aren't allowed to sell it for a cheaper price on a competing store, even if that competing store only takes a 12% cut. The lawsuits claim that if a developer tries to offer you, the consumer, a discount somewhere else, Steam will quietly penalize them or even completely delist the game from their massive storefront.
As you can guess, this has triggered some really aggressive legal action. Developer Wolfire Games filed a lawsuit citing exactly this practice, arguing that developers basically have no choice but to do whatever Valve says. Even Microsoft has been dragged into this through a proposed class action suit, which alleges, based on internal emails, that Microsoft and Valve actually colluded to enforce these price parity rules. The whole argument here is that this practice restricts the free market, artificially keeping game prices high for everyone.
Now, to be entirely objective here, Valve's leadership has strictly denied these accusations. CEO Gabe Newell publicly stated that Valve does not have a policy or practice of dictating prices to third-party developers on other platforms. So what we have is a situation with severe allegations of market manipulation on one side and total, flat-out denial on the other.
Section 2. Why giant competitors fail. Let's pivot the narrative for a moment, because despite these heavy accusations, some of the wealthiest companies on Earth have completely failed to dethrone Steam.
Enter Epic Games and its CEO, Tim Sweeney. He has been on a highly public, super aggressive crusade against Steam. Epic created Fortnite and the Unreal Engine, so, as you know, they have incredibly deep pockets. And they've tried using that money to force a market shift, spending an astonishing $2 billion on promotional efforts just to pull players away from Steam and onto the Epic Game Store.
Now, what's really interesting about these numbers is the harsh reality of the free market. After 6 long years of fighting, spending literally billions, paying for exclusive rights to blockbuster games, and handing out free games every single week, Epic Games has captured a measly 3% of the PC gaming market. Steam, meanwhile, still sits incredibly comfortably at 74%.
Honestly, how is that even possible? Well, internal analysis revealed something fascinating. Only 16 to 18% of users who log into Epic to claim a free game ever actually pull out their credit card to purchase another title on the store. It just proves a fundamental business lesson. You cannot simply buy a loyal user base. Gamers will happily grab the free product, say thank you very much, and then immediately go right back to the platform they actually enjoy using. And hey, it's not just epic. Look at this brilliantly honest quote from a former VP at Amazon. Amazon, a company with effectively infinite resources, tried to disrupt Steam and totally failed. He outright admits they were 250 times bigger, but they severely underestimated the power of user habits. Alternative platforms built by EA, Ubisoft, and Amazon are often, well, clunky, frustrating, and just lacking in features. Gamers already had a solution that worked perfectly for them, so they flat out refused to switch.
Section 3. The secret to gamer loyalty. This brings us to the most crucial question of this explainer. Why won't players leave Steam? And why do they inherently distrust these giant competitors?
The simple answer? Actual, tangible value. Just think about the wildly pro-consumer features Steam offers. Buy a game and it runs horribly on your PC? Get a full refund, no questions asked, as long as you're under 2 hours of playtime. Want to share your digital library with your family? Go ahead, do it for free. Hate intrusive ads? Steam strictly bans in-game advertising that relies on other platforms. They even built their own free Linux-based operating system. They aren't just a storefront, they're a comprehensive ecosystem built completely around making the gamer happy.
And while competitors accuse Steam of keeping prices artificially high, Steam is actually doing the exact opposite on a global scale. They actively push developers to use regional pricing. So while US gamers pay standard rates, in emerging markets like Brazil, Russia, or parts of Southeast Asia, Steam recommends pricing games 40 to 70% below the US dollar amount to match local income levels. If developers refuse to adjust their prices to be fair to local economies, Steam's algorithm actually penalizes their game's visibility. It's wild.
This actually perfectly highlights the structural difference between Valve and its rivals. Valve is a private company, majority owned by its founder, Gabe Newell. They don't have to answer to a board of Wall Street shareholders who are constantly demanding infinite quarterly growth. Contrast that with their competitors, who are often backed by massive, profit-driven corporate conglomerates like Tencent, Disney, and Sony. Believe me, gamers recognize that difference in corporate DNA. And, that trust goes all the way up to the absolute top. Valve CEO Gabe Newell publicly shares his personal email address and is famously known for consistently replying directly to individual customer inquiries. Whether it's a complaint about a broken device or just a simple question, the head of a multi-billion-dollar company actually makes time for his users. That creates decades of incredible goodwill that a competitor simply cannot replicate by just throwing money at marketing.
Section 4. The real price of competition. Are the companies suing Steam actually trying to help consumers, or do they just want to eliminate their biggest hurdle to profit?
Think about the realistic outcome if these antitrust lawsuits actually succeed, and Steam's dominance is somehow broken. If parity rules are removed, do we really believe giant publishers will suddenly become generous and drop the standard $70 US price tag down to $50? History says no way. It is far more likely they would maintain those high prices, force you to download their own clunky exclusive launcher, and simply pocket that extra profit margin for themselves. In the end, consumers would lose a centralized, high-quality experience without actually saving a single dime. As industry analyst Matt Piscatella points out, having a massive market share does not automatically make you a monopoly. A true monopoly exists when there are absolutely no substitutes and the seller can charge excessively high rates because, well, you have nowhere else to go. But in PC gaming, literally anyone can launch a digital store. In fact, tons of companies have. They just usually fail because they can't build a platform that even comes close to matching Steam's quality.
So the crucial point is this: Steam might completely dominate the market, but they got there and they stay there by offering the best possible service. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to consider. In an industry absolutely filled with hyper-aggressive monetization and profit-chasing conglomerates,